Bible better than me. Doesn't mean he adheres to it or embraces it. Knowledge is power. Bye. I know how to get to you. I know how to have power. Money. Money. That's my ambrosia. That's what feeds me. Yeah, so this whole schism I talk about, this profound paradox we all have to deal with, man, we can all take great solace in knowing that God understands and knows. Turn to God. Let him comfort you, let him encourage you, let him strengthen you, and go out with power and influence people. Okay? Do what you can. Okay, speak to friends, neighbors, strangers, anybody that'll listen. Truth to power, yeah, all that. But we've got to be in a very we got to use divine tact because we're desperately trying to be effective here because our very happiness is at stake. And if you're like me and you're a selfish man, then you'll understand what I'm saying. And you read also about the rewards spoken very eloquently and poetically in chapter 12 of Daniel. And you'll see what the incentive is to do right and do good and try to enlighten people, okay, about all these very critical, important, these are eternal issues, everlasting issues. And the rewards are great, and the penalties are great if you don't, if you decide to go with the money lovers and say, no, I just love my life in this world too much, it worked out too well. I don't believe that, do goody good BS like Pink Floyd says, don't give me that. No, money, it's a hit. Don't give me that do goody good BS. So, yeah, I mean, God gets it, we get it, but He's our only hope, man. I mean, that's it, is turn to Him for solace and comfort and encouragement and all the things we need, all the stuff that we can't give each other. Psychiatrists, therapists, counselors, pastors, friends, family. Nobody can do it. Spouses, nobody can do it. Because only God can know, love, and understand you the way you need to be known, loved, and understood to your core. Okay? And, we all have boundaries. Even though it's hard to believe when you see the crime TV and you go, oh my God, how these people do this or that. Oh my God, we're so far removed. And it's like, but we've got to love our enemies. I mean, if those are your enemies, whoever you perceive your enemy to be, you've got to somehow try to love them and say, they're just out of their mind. And when they see straight, they would never have done what they did. They need to just be really sorry for what they did. Okay, it was really wrong and unacceptable to get our attention here as a society, with rules based on morals and ethics and principle and logic, stuff that made sense, honesty, okay, and having not a lack of rules where there needs to be, because there's a lot of that going on. In the simple fact that we don't have the golden rule, isn't you don't have to live by that. Yeah, step on toes, cut throat, doesn't matter. You got to screw others before they screw you. You jumped on the bandwagon first, screw them. They're weak. They're inferior. You're deserving. They're not. It's their problem, not yours. Yeah, I think we got to get rid of the Democrats and Republicans. I call it partyism. But when they're colluding, they're useless pustules for the most part, aren't they? Just looking after business interests. We should all ask, where in the hell is the federal minimum wage and protecting the interests of the federal minimum wage worker? You understand how this is it's not only divisive, this wealth imbalance, but it's balkanizing. You understand people will have to move. Well, this city pays 15 an hour. You don't know that the rent there you're going to have to pay. You know, 2/3, 3/4 of your check is going to go to just a corner of a garage. No, that's it's not. You see, it's just a horrific situation we're in. We're on our knees. My beloved America is on her knees. Last week I was talking about my bird, my blue-crowned conure. I named Avocado, Avi for short, but that got away on the same day Princess Diana was killed in that car accident in Paris. But here I want to share a picture. This is Avocado. He's the green one, of course. And then the one next to him, that's Sunbeam. She was a sun conure. And they were both affectionate, smart, sweet birds. He had a better temperament. He was a good boy, and he had a great laugh. He loved to laugh and say "pretty bird" and "hello," and I loved him. He was a good bird. I really miss him. But you know how it is with pets. It's not so easy just to get another one to replace them. It doesn't kind of work that way. So maybe someday, who knows? So I'm off to current events, recent events, and other talking points. This George Floyd trial, I have a daughter that she thinks there ought to be a George Floyd Day, and I had to agree. I think that's a good idea. Hey, before we're too condemning to the cops, what people ought to consider, yourself being a cop. Walk a mile in their shoes, they say. Okay, because if we don't have some semblance of law and order, then by default position, all we have is lawlessness and disorder. Do any of us want that? So they're performing a very vital, important service for us as a civilized society. Okay, they don't make the laws; they're just tasked with enforcing them. And a lot of times they disagree, and they can use their own discretion sometimes. So the best thing is to be polite, and respectful, the same way you want to be treated. But when they tell you to do something, I recommend you do it. Simple as that. I mean, you fight the law and the law wins. I mean, one way or another. I mean, stay alive. Don't pull a suicide by cop through stupidity. Just, do what they tell you to do and be nice to them. Just treat them the way you'd want to be treated if you were a cop. That's that simple. I revised my plan for $1 trillion that Joe Biden ought to put into this lottery. Yeah, I think 2.5 million. If you give 2.5 million, that means in this lottery, and you've got a lot of people who don't qualify because they're already millionaires or billionaires, and so a lot of people are eliminated from this lottery. But we got what 350 million people almost in America. But if it was 2.5 million dollar grants or lottery winnings, it would go to 400,000 people, and they could take that money and share it with family and friends. Could you imagine what that do to cash flow, the velocity of currency? Great things, my friends. Great things. All right, friends. I'm on to some thoughts from the last week or two or so. If you are basically honest, logical, kind, considerate, and seeking a state of lasting, even permanent, ever-growing happiness, the chances are extremely high that I would not only love you, for that is a given, but also that I will genuinely like you, a far greater compliment than love. In my mind, the big question is not so much who we are, but rather what we are. And that is precious treasure to our owner, our creator. Our worth, our value has been predetermined from on high. Consider, please, wouldn't you rather be known as a nice person than a right person? If so, then during your next debate with someone, politely state your truth, your belief about an issue, then listen to the truth and belief of the other on that issue, and remain the nicest person on the nicest debate committee, and you'll always come out on top. And always remember, above all, to listen to your owner, whom is always right on every issue. In an attempt to be completely logical, I see no logic in the erroneous, even delusional concept of, quote, ownership. No, the most we can ever do is to use stuff while we are here. It is imperative that we all ask ourselves, would I love to live in a world void of any and all forms of money, or would I be miserable without money? In learning the, quote, gender role dynamics, end quote, of human existence, it would help us to learn the game of chess, because there is no other piece you will lament losing than that of your queen. I can attest to this truth. Well, friends, I got to leave it there. Listen, I wish the best to everyone. We need to live together like a family, so I just want to be a good brother. I want to be a good friend, and by extension, I'm being a good brother and a good friend to God Almighty. And that's the relationship He wants us to have with Him. So have a wonderful day and have a wonderful eternity, and All the things I want for myself and my kids, I want for you and your kids and anybody else.